All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of the Hardwood Nation's Flagrant 2 podcast, featuring myself, CL Anthony, and my little buddy, Bryce Ward. What's up, Bryce?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing fantastic, and I'm doing as fantastic as Christian Wood is doing with the Houston Rockets right now, dropping 23 and 10 a night. What's going on with you, brother?
Not much. Just coming off the holiday season, looking to get some rest now. The craziness has died down. Maybe watch some more basketball now.
Yeah, I've gained those 5 pounds over the holidays, and I have to work them off. So, you know, everyone's New Year's resolution is to get in better shape, but so we'll see what
Yeah.
happens with that. We shall see. So, Christian Wood been talking to NBA this week. Not a lot of news going on, but he's been talking to NBA this week. The surprise player for the Houston Rockets. How do you feel with him averaging 23 and 10 so far this season?
I mean, good for him. I mean, Houston needs everything they can get. I feel like with more question marks going into the season. I guess mainly just with how the team's gonna flow with Wall at the point, which
Hmm.
he looked good in his first, what is it, 2 games or 1 game he's played so far? But he looked good in
John
one
Wall's
game.
played 2 or 3 games. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked quick. He looked comfortable, I guess. But this kid, I mean, good for him because apparently he had some issues or had some drama around him when he first came in the league. He had some
Well,
issues
well, yeah. As the story
personally.
goes, yeah, because of course, with him playing so well, people want to dig and find out more about the kid. So he was doing an interview with the Ringer, and draft night, it was said that because he didn't get drafted, he came out of UNLV, and he didn't get drafted. So he took his lady to the airport so she could go home, I guess, wherever the fuck she's from, and she ghosted him because he didn't get drafted. I don't know the young lady. I have a picture up. Not sure if that's the young lady sitting beside him, but I know you can't see the picture. But he's obviously devastated in this picture because he didn't get drafted back in 2015. But hey, he just signed a $41 million contract with the Rockets in the offseason, so he's doing okay. And as of right now, he's playing up to that contract, which is fantastic. But his quote was, "I lost my girlfriend that night too. I dropped her off at the airport after the draft and never saw her again." I think she might have 41 million reasons to give him a call back right now, but more than
Oh,
likely he wouldn't pick
she
up the
can't
phone.
call.
What do you think?
She
She
can't call
can't
him.
call.
She
Why she
calls him.
can't call him? She
Huh?
call him and say what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, if I was him, I wouldn't even answer the phone to say hello. I'd just answer laughing
Dude, I would
like that.
I would probably entertain her and then make the screenshots public. That's what I would do,
Mm.
just to see how desperate she would be to come back.
Wouldn't answer,
Like
just text back, say you fucked up. Just leave it at that.
you know, you know how much crow she's probably eating right now because she ghosted him after draft night.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine that? How that dude must have felt.
Also, he would know too if she did talk to him now exactly what she was wanting to begin with. So I mean, who would want anything to do with her now, anyways?
Well, and that goes back to my uncle Levar. People love to hate him, but he mentioned in the off season, he was talking about his boys, and he was like, it's hard when you reach certain levels to find a good woman. And he pretty much was like, you're never going to find a good woman once you're in the NBA. I I kind of go 50-50 on that, because everyone's not after your money, but you definitely have to be careful with who you entertain and who you let into your circle. So it is some truth to what LeVar said, and this story with Christian Wood actually adds credence to that with what LeVar said. Do you think that some of these NBA players need to be careful with some of these women? Let's just be blunt about it.
Oh yeah, of course. And that's why I think, and you see it more with like more prestigious players or more famous stars. It's they tend to be with if they're not already married or have someone when they come up. It seems like they tend to gravitate towards someone in a similar position. So that
Hmm.
way, it seems like that's just one less thing you have to worry about.
Hmm.
It's like Dwayne Wade and his wife. He never had to worry about anything with her because she had her own career and her own everything, things
Right.
like that. So I feel like that's one reason why they probably gravitate towards other people that are also in the limelight because they probably have the same worries that they do. So I imagine, unless because otherwise, I would imagine that would always be in the back of your mind. Like, is this what this person wants from me? And you know, people are good at lying, so I think they need to really be careful, especially depending on what state they live in, because these women can get a lot from them. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, yeah. I've heard California's really, 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 really bad with that. um, but kudos to Christian Wood for his hot start to the season. I didn't pick him up on fantasy. I know one of our guys did, but I can't remember who did right now. But like I said, kudos to him because James Harden really needs a dominant big man to play off of. So if they have a good 1-2 punch like that, and then with John Wall coming off the bench, who's used to playing with a big man, this is going to be fantastic for Houston, and they may actually do better than what we thought they were going to do heading into the season. So this is a good thing, I think.
do you think Wall and Harden are gonna work together better than Westbrook and Harden?
No, I know. Walls is coming off the bench. He got more run because Harden didn't play last night. But Wall's going to be coming off the bench, and Wall is an insurance policy for Houston if they do decide to move Harden. So you're not going to see them play together a lot, but at spells of the game they will. But for the majority of the game, no, you're not going to see that.
So they're just gonna, I guess, bring Wall along slowly, see what
Mhm.
they got. Because I mean, if he gets even remotely close to what he used to be, I can't imagine that they would keep him on the bench all season.
Right, right, right. So, like I said, he was just a good insurance policy for if they had to move on from Westbrook, and then you kind of get him. You will end up getting him on the cheap. So eventually, once his contract expires, so yeah, not a bad. It wasn't a bad get for Houston at all.
Yeah.
No. All right, moving along. What did you see that stood out this week, Bryce? I know you watched a little more ball than I did this week.
Uh, which sounds surprising, which it feels like it's just the last couple of days. But the Hawks seem to be off to a decent start. I know they beat Brooklyn the other night, and Brooklyn's been hot, or at least they started off hot. Um, Trey Young just looks impressive. Uh, Philly, Philly's 5-1, which is surprising. They had a good game. Tobias and Ben Simmons got a triple double last night. They had a pretty good looking win against Charlotte. Um, I'm not sure how much LaMelo was on Ben Simmons, but one of the plays I saw is Ben Simmons just looked more polished and more like, even though LaMelo is bigger, Ben just felt like he had the more physicality. Like he was just more physical and was able to move where he wanted to. I think based on just because LaMelo was on him. So he looked good last night, and Tobias had a big game. So Philly's looking really good at 5-1. Whatever Doc's doing there seems to be working so far. Um, I'm just trying to think. Those stood out to me. What games did you watch? Any games this week?
I
Any
watched the Heat, and the second Heat Milwaukee game. I watched that, and then I watched the Heat when they lost to Dallas the other night. Jimmy's still trying to work back into Butler mode, so it might take him a little while because we still don't know how severe that ankle is, but he's not there yet. So,
you guys
one,
games with Milwaukee?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Did you split the two games with
We
Milwaukee?
we split with Milwaukee, and that's something that I'm not shocked about. Um, I didn't like the fact that we had to play on back-to-back nights, but it is what it is. And the first night when the NBA was losing their mind because they converted 29 threes, I knew that was an anomaly. First of all, that was a record, like for the entire NBA. That was in the NBA history. That was a record for most threes converted, which was I believe like 87 or 89 points. So I'm like, okay, they're not going to do this every night. Um, both games we didn't have Butler, but in the second game when we beat them, it was like, okay, this is typically how the Heat Buck games go, And we've beaten them a couple of times now without Jimmy Butler over the last couple of years. So that's telling to me. It's just like there's
Mhm.
something going on where Milwaukee cannot put us away. And I could see Giannis like bolting off the court in frustration after that second game. I'm like, we're still in their heads. There's no question about it. We're still in their heads. So if we can look, the Heat aren't going to be the number one team in the East this year, but if we can hover around and get matched up with Milwaukee, Milwaukee's still in the world of trouble as of right now. As far as the East goes, yeah, Philly's number one at 5-1. Your Magic, which is a surprise to me, is number two at 4-2. Even though they lost two straight games, they're still holding down that number two spot. But the thing with the number two spot is there's technically a four-way tie. So you have the Magic, the Pacers, the Cavaliers, which no one's talking about, and then the Hawks are all tied for number two. Then you have Brooklyn at 3-3, the New York Knicks at 3-3, and then the Boston Celtics at 3-3. So those three teams have the last three spots in the East. There's no Milwaukee, there's no Miami. The New York Knicks have really been playing good basketball. Really, like Tom Thibodeau has those boys working hard over there, and they just got Austin Rivers back because he hasn't played all season. I mean, we're 2 weeks in, but he hasn't played all season, and he just came back the last couple of games. So the Knicks are going to be competitive. They're not going to be contenders, but they're at least going to be competitive, which is something we haven't seen from them in about 3 years.
Is Austin Rivers starting at the two?
I don't believe he started last night. I can check their roster, and I watched some of the game, but I didn't see who started last night, so I'm not sure. But Austin will get you points. I'm a huge Austin fan. Watched him here in Winter Park. Huge Austin Rivers fan. It just he was so big in Winter Park. People thought he was going to have a bigger NBA career because he was such a good high school player, but it just hasn't translated. But he's a decent player.
Because I'd actually like to watch some of those games, just to
Mhm.
see how the dynamic between him and Elfrid Payton go too. Because Payton's their point guard, and he's like kind of a one-trick pony, but used right and with a scorer like Austin at the two, I'd like to see them play a little bit more. I haven't watched them in a long time, so
Yeah, Peyton's not
that's
getting a lot of run there right now, though. They have the second year player R.J. Barrett. He's their starting point.
well last year. I forgot about him.
Yeah, Barrett's there. Yeah, I mean he's not doing that great, but he's there. Yeah, but the
What's
Knicks are
surprising
playing
to me,
hard.
as much as the Knicks are, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Cleveland and
Yes,
Cleveland's point guard is playing extremely well right
yes,
now.
yes. I think my kid has him on fantasy. Yeah,
hmm I
he's.
tried to I tried to make sure he was not just sitting there. Trust me. Um,
You tried to get him.
like I said, our other buddy has Kevin Love, and so I'm just wondering what exact because I haven't watched Cleveland at all yet. I'm wondering how exactly they're getting some wins because on paper it doesn't seem too exciting, but if that kid's running the offense well and you have people who are at least making their shots, then I mean I guess something's working there because the East is all over the place right now. I mean I know it's the beginning of the season, but for Milwaukee and the Heat to be where they're at, and even Boston,
Hmm.
3-3. I mean, but I don't know. It's so early. It's I try not to get too excited about where the rankings are right now.
Right,
It's
right.
going to change so much.
Well, good news is you guys play Cleveland Monday night, so we both might have a chance to check them out and see what's going on. But their guard right now is averaging 26 points a game, so not bad.
What 10 assists or something like that?
I didn't see his assist numbers. I'm just looking at. Hold on, let me see if I can pull them up.
Some pretty good assist numbers from what I think I remember. But the Magic right now, I mean, so like last night, it was basically just Vooch and Terrence Ross getting us all our points. It seems like the Magic have like a versatile set of weapons right now, and in the games that we won, it seemed like besides like one guy, the rest of the team seemed to be firing like on all cylinders. And I think
Hmm.
that's when the Magic are obviously going to be at the best. Aaron Gordon had some games where he looked good. Evan Fournier, Vooch finally came around, and Fultz brings an energy that I think the whole team feeds off too. But if it's just two guys instead of like three or four for us, I think that's when we just don't have the tools to pull off a win if it's not a full team effort, kind of. So we really need everybody making their shots, being good, doing what they need to on offense for the Magic to win. That's why, like, I think the hot start will be hard for the Magic to maintain, but it if they play well as a team, it won't surprise me for them to be in the playoff race at all. I mean, we talked about some teams coming up and maybe knocking them out, or maybe another team
Right.
out that were there last year. But if the Magic play better as a team this year, and Aaron Gordon does make some progress, he's not a what's the word, or what's the phrase, like a lead, a go-to scorer. I don't think he's that. But if he can make some progress along with the rest of our team, Terrence Ross is shooting the ball well. Vooch is by far the most consistent. And if Evan can add to it too, like I said, as a team, I think they can really threaten to be in the playoffs again. But they have to do it the whole season. And we've seen months where the Magic has, in previous seasons, just looked like garbage for like too long at a time. So we'll see what they can do the whole season. But I like what I've seen early on.
Well, the good thing is it builds confidence within the team that, hey, we can win some games. So it builds confidence. I mean, a couple of years ago they started off hot, and then the wheels fell off. So we just got to watch and see what happens. Now this team, as constructed, the three stars has been together now for 4 years. So we just have to see if they can. I think they need a superstar, but you're going to have to lose some pieces to get that because no one there is a superstar. Booch is consistent, but he's not a superstar, and he doesn't necessarily make his teammates better. He just plays well. So if you can get a superstar in there that can still elevate the players around him, let's say, let's just use an example what Jimmy Butler did in Miami. Then the Magic will be right there as far as contending for an NBA championship, and that's I believe that. I don't know how hard it will be for them to get a superstar there, though. That's the thing, because for some reason the Magic has this reputation around the league that no superstar wants to play for them. So thank you, Kevin Durant. But you remember that, right?
I remember a lot of Kevin Durant
You
things.
remember that, right? Yeah. Dude, he buried y'all, like for real. But you guys are one player away now. We're both surprised that the Washington Wizards haven't been able to gel as a team, but I think it's going to happen. I'm not giving up on the Wizards yet. I mean, they won their first game the other night. Westbrook didn't play, ironically, but they won their first game. The Wizards fans are already panicking about Westbrook, and it's just like y'all need to chill out. This guy, his first 4 games, the guy had a triple double for y'all. Chill the fuck out. Um, they're eventually going to jail. Him and Bill are playing great, and they're playing great together. It's just the other people around them who needs to step up. They need a little more help. They need to make a couple of more trades to get some more shooting there, and then the Wizards will be fine.
And yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like it'd be hard to do, but
Hmm.
it it's not always, I guess, easy to pull off. As a fan base, I can understand. Like, I'm not a member of their fan base, but I can put myself in their shoes, and I can understand. Yeah, if Westbrook, wherever Westbrook goes, he's gonna like get this type of attention. Okay, whether good or bad, he's gonna get a lot of attention because he's a polarizing figure, and that's been his whole career. For whether it's true or not, he gets that kind of attention. So when you have the Washington team that you have him and Bill playing very well, and they're not getting wins, he's gonna get a lot of that attention just naturally. That's the way it's gonna be. But uh, Washington hasn't had success in a long time, not real
It's a
success.
very long
So, like, if this was happening to the Magic this year, which I've went through it too, everybody would be freaking out already. Like, these teams that have been starved for, some kind of success, the fan bases, they get pushed to the limits, and you start the season off the way you do. It's like what?
Yeah.
Now, we're as high as the Magic fans were getting, and as low as the Washington fans were getting. Like, it's gonna change. Like, you're not gonna keep this trend going. But to start off losing that many games, it's depressing. And
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what else is the fan base gonna talk about other than the new guy?
I mean, they ain't had shit there for a few years. It's like,
No, that's
I mean, come on, dude. What expectations do you have? Let's be realistic here. Look, it's not like the Lakers are starting off 0-5. What the hell? But hey, fans are fans, right? Hey, fans are fans. Let's look out west real quick. Let me bring up the standings out west and see what's going on, see how it's looking out there. So, for the Western Conference, both of our picks as a surprise team that we knew was going to come up is number one in the West. The Phoenix Suns are number one at 5-1. Then you have the Pelicans, Stan Van Gundy, 4-2. The Clippers are 4-2. The Lakers are 4-2. The Utah Jazz are 3-2. The Portland Trailblazers are 3-2. The surprise Rockets are 2-2. And the hugely surprising Sacramento Kings are 3-3. So there's your playoffs for the Western Conference right now. Anything shocking in there that you see?
Um, I hate to say shocking because, like I said, I don't even like to pay attention to where their rankings are this early, but it's got to be the Kings. Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
I thought would be better. Portland, we knew had the talent to be there.
Right.
Maybe the Pelicans but they were on the fringe of making the playoffs last
Right.
year. I mean,
They were. Yep.
and now you got Stan Van Gundy there. You have a healthy team. Those guys are going to be firing all cylinders. Those guys that if it wasn't for the West being just so jam packed, and Denver and Utah and the Lakers that aren't even there yet, like in that list right there, I didn't think right, or were they?
No, the
Yeah,
Lakers are there. Utah, Denver's not there. Denver is right now last in the Western Conference. They are last.
in Dallas. It's Dallas.
Dallas is not in there either. No.
Okay, so it's I picked the Kings to fall off a little bit, even though I'm glad to see because they're another team. It's like you brought up the Magic, how Kevin Durant made that comment. But you can say that about a number of teams around the league for a long time. Atlanta, uh, Sacramento, uh, even the Knicks. For as much as they can give a player, and, you watch sports enough, you see these trends come and go over decades and stuff. But still, the Kings are probably who surprised me the most, and who I would pick to probably fall out of that.
Mhm.
And um, Phoenix being 5-1 is a little surprising, but I really expected them to play well. I mean, just
Yeah.
because of the addition of baseball.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by them being 5-1. I don't think they'll stay in the top four in the Western Conference as the season goes on, but they're definitely gonna playoffs. Same thing with New Orleans, because like you said, New Orleans were knocking on the door last year. Denver, okay. So what we said about Washington is like, what are you guys panicking for? Because you haven't had shit going on. Denver may need to start panicking in another week or so because their guys are still there. Michael Porter Jr. due to COVID contact tracing, and he's their third scorer. He missed the last couple of games, but he wasn't even that impactful last season. So your guys are there. Everyone's there in Denver. So they need to figure that out, and they need to figure it out quick because they don't want to fall too far behind. So the fans in Denver actually need to look and be like, what the fuck is going on? Because Jokic is playing good. Jamal
Yeah.
Murray hasn't played up to his level yet. So that should be a bit concerning for me.
Hmm.
At
Uh,
one, they're 1-4. They need to work that out.
for as dominant as they looked in the playoffs,
Right,
or
right.
for as resilient as they were in the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
you're surprised by the start. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I
for
mean they
sure.
were they were what they were the third seed last season, I believe. So yeah, I'm hella surprised by the start, and also, goodness, I just forgot what I was gonna say because I'm getting old right now. Um, Dallas kind of has an excuse because they don't have Porzingis. Porzingis had off-season knee surgery, so they're not going to have him until maybe around mid-season. So Dallas isn't at full strength. So I actually will give Dallas a pass. Denver's not getting a pass from me. They got to figure it out, and they got to figure it out quick because 1-4 for that team is unacceptable.
Where do you think what do you think Portland has to do this year to not feel like they're just squandering away?
Portland, Portland's regular season doesn't matter as long as they get into the playoffs. It's all about the playoffs for Portland. They have to at least get to the conference finals, and that's going to be tough. We know how the Clippers fell apart last year, but they're still the Clippers, and they're still going to be a good team. They did lose a little depth, which may open a door for Portland. But at this time, it's conference finals or bust for them. I don't care what they do in the regular season. I don't care what happens in the first two rounds. They have to get to the conference finals. Dame is still going to win the MVP this year, book it, because of the Ric Flair shoes. But they have to get to the conference finals.
Do you think they have what it takes to, if they have, because they're going to have to come across one of the teams? Do you think they have what it takes to beat either LA team to do that? Because the Clippers look it, with all due respect, considering what happened last year, the Clippers really should have been
Right,
like
right.
they should have looked better. Um, so maybe we see that this year. I don't know, but it's still hard for me to think that maybe Portland beats the Clippers in a 7 game series in the playoffs.
I it's tough, but the Portland Trailblazers can go big. They lost Hassan Whiteside, but they gained Enos Cantor. Enos Cantor can go the full game. We know Whiteside doesn't. He lapses, so they don't have to worry about that anymore. Um, Carmelo Anthony is still playing well in his limited action. They have to get to the conference finals because for the Portland Trailblazers, anything else would be a disaster for them. And same thing with the Clippers. The Clippers actually have to get to the conference finals or the NBA finals, or they're going to blow that thing up because Kawhi only signed a 2-year contract. So they're going to blow that thing up. So those two teams have a ton of pressure on them right now.
Who do you think's like more likely to move, Kawhi or Dame, if
Kawhi.
if they don't have their success
Kawhi.
this year?
I think Kawhi is going to move.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. Should be an
Yeah.
interesting offseason next year.
Because Dame has had his chances to leave, and he's gonna be loyal. He doesn't like the idea of super teams. Apparently, the Lakers tried to get him last year. Um, I think Dame's gonna stay. Uh, I just do. I think Kawhi may be out of there. We'll see.
Hmm.
No. What else you got? How you think Milwaukee's gonna end up? Because right now they're out of the playoffs. So let's talk about Milwaukee and Miami. How you think that's gonna happen?
I think depending on who they have to play, Milwaukee will make the playoffs.
Hmm.
It's like a
They're
toss
three
up
and three
depending
right now.
is going to come out of the East this year.
Hmm.
It's going to be a tough year. My pick to come out of the East again is probably Miami. But as it goes right now, I like more of what I've kind of seen from Philly, and I'm
Hmm.
very surprised by that because
Hmm.
I kind of, not on purpose, I just wasn't really impressed by Philly. But so far this season, they seem to be, I don't know, it's just something's a little different, and that could be the Doc Rivers effect. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I don't see Milwaukee beating. I don't think they can beat Philly or Miami. So I think there's a good chance that they duplicate what they did last year and maybe only make it
To the second
to the
round.
second.
Wow. One thing
Now,
I'll tell you. Oh, go
I
ahead.
hope not, because I'd like to see Giannis. I just like to see, like, Miami did it last year. Maybe a Milwaukee Philly conference finals would be interesting, but I don't think Milwaukee is going to make it quite that far. I think they're going to get caught by one of them.
I actually don't fear a Philly playoff matchup. For a while last year, we thought we were going to end up playing Philly, and we had some dogfight. I mean, some battles with Philly in the regular season. I think we split series, but there were some epic games. There were great games. Um, so
So
actually, I
there's
want Philly.
about anyone in the East.
Yeah, but yeah, I want Philly bad. Brooklyn, I want no part of Brooklyn. I absolutely want no part. I don't want Brooklyn. I need somebody to knock Brooklyn out for me. Brooklyn scares the shit out of me. Um,
Yeah,
and
but
Miami, what's
they
up?
worry you even in the playoffs
Yes,
because
and they
compared to
worry
your
me.
team,
They
who
they
have
worry
tons
me in the
of
playoffs. Hmm.
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Here's why they worry me in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. They made a mistake by getting Steve Nash there, but I don't want to go against Kevin Durant. Period. I just don't. We can neutralize uh, Kyrie Irving. We don't have anybody for Kevin Durant. He is 6'11". He can shoot from 30, as Stephen A. Smith says. I don't want no part of him. No parts of it.
Yeah, but you guys have a way to frustrate
I
players. You have
don't
Bam.
want. I don't want Kevin Durant. I don't look. Giannis and Kevin Durant are two completely different animals. You get what I'm saying? They're two. You don't have to worry about Giannis pulling up from 30. You don't have to worry about that. Kevin Durant could just walk it up past half line and pull up and shoot a three in your fucking face. I don't want that. Do you want to deal with that? Be honest. Do
No,
you want to deal with that? Okay.
not certain people.
Yeah,
I'm
give me
like,
Look, give me Milwaukee every fucking day of the week. I want no. Give me Philly. I want no part of Brooklyn because if we do slow Durant down, Kyrie can come up and pull up from 30. No, thank you.
I
No,
hope
thank you.
you guys climb the East and Brooklyn falls and you get them first round. You get
No,
them first round and you knocked out.
no, fuck
That
you.
would make me happy.
No, fuck you. No. The Heat are gonna be fine. It's just look. No one in the Eastern Conference wants Brooklyn. They just don't. No one wants them. So maybe we luck out in Atlanta because Atlanta can go blow to blow with Brooklyn. We saw that this week. So maybe we luck out and Atlanta can match up with Brooklyn, kind of slow them down a little bit, or even Boston. But they made Boston look like children. Okay, and Boston's a good defense team, and Brooklyn just made them look like kids on the court. That's
Do you think
scary.
Milwaukee match up well against Brooklyn?
I have to see it. That's I haven't seen it yet. I don't believe they played each other yet, so I have to see that one. That's going to be a measuring stick game. It's going to be a pretty good. It's going to be a pretty good game.
Because Milwaukee's got some big guys. I mean,
Yeah,
they have people there that can take care of Kyrie, just like you said the Heat can't. But
right.
Giannis and some of their bigs there might be like Giannis can guard as good as anybody can guard Durant, and he's
Right,
unguardable basically.
right,
But
right.
if you're gonna have someone on, Giannis has to be the ideal player. I mean, no one has his size with his movement, you know.
And
So
that's where Kyrie Irving comes in because Milwaukee has no one who can deal with Kyrie. DJ Augustine, no. Drew
Holiday is a
Holiday,
big.
no, he can't deal with Kyrie. He's too slow. Drew's too slow to deal with Kyrie. So in that series, Kyrie should be the one that stands out because Giannis may lock down Durant as best, like you said, as best as anyone can. So it's all about matchups. It's all about coaching. I know Steve Nash isn't proven, so I have concerns about that in the playoffs. But when you can just give the ball to a player like Kevin Durant and say, go get a bucket, Kevin Durant's going to get you a bucket.
For as much as I say about Durant, both him and Kyrie have championships. That they
Right.
even if the team doesn't have experience together in the playoffs, those guys do
Those
have
guys.
tons
Yep.
of experience.
Yep.
So
Go get
I
me a
don't know.
bucket.
They could just be the wild card and throw everything out. Who knows this year?
Look, when Kevin Durant was with Golden State battling LeBron in the playoffs, I'm sorry, in the finals, he didn't miss, bro. And that was on LeBron James. Kevin Durant didn't miss, bro. He was on point. Um, I don't want Brooklyn at all. Atlanta, Trey Young, John Collins, y'all can deal with Brooklyn all day.
Which really would be a dogfight
Oh,
because
that would be a
John
good one.
Collins
Yeah.
is, yeah, I mean, he's a mogul. I mean, he's got some movement to him for being a big guy.
He's
That would be
so
a fun
underrated.
series.
He is so underrated, and people like you really have to one day just watch the Hawks and watch. He didn't have a good game the last game, but just really watch those guys play. John Collins, he could be a 2010 guy every night. But it's only so many balls that can go around, and that team's loaded right now. Even though Gallinari's hurt, Atlanta's still loaded. John Collins could go to another team, let's say a Cleveland, and be 2010 every night. Like the kid's that good. Now I love John Collins. Absolutely love him. So in Atlanta, they're putting a lot of points up on the board too. So like I said, blow for blow, they could match Brooklyn right now. Miami doesn't even score like that. So we would have to grind them down, have a slow, ugly type game. We can't run with Brooklyn, but Atlanta can run with Brooklyn. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anything else before we wrap it up?
How long do you think Tyler Hero is going to play point for you guys?
Now we addressed this last week. We addressed this. I don't want Tyler Hero being the point guard of the Miami Heat. But if that's what the coaching staff wants, then I have to fall in line with that. But Tyler Hero should not be the point guard of the Miami Heat. My stance is not changing on that. Now he's getting better. He toned it down a little bit this week. With Jimmy Butler coming back, so the ball wasn't in his hands as much. But Tyler Hero shouldn't be the point guard for the Miami.
Why do you think they're really doing that? Just because is it his size, his ability to
We
score?
don't
Like
have
what
a
is it?
point guard. We don't have a point
You think he just wants to play point guard?
guard. We don't have a point guard. I mean, we got Kendrick Nunn, but he hasn't been right since COVID. We want to keep Dragic on the bench to keep him fresh, and he's been playing great for your fantasy team, by the way. But so we don't have a point guard. So it's like I told you last week. Let's pick up the phone, call Mario Chalmers, call White Chocolate, get Tim Hardaway back. We need a point guard in Miami. Shit, Smash Napier, somebody.
That's guys, get out of here. One other question: is there anybody who will be coming back from injury this year or soon that you're interested to see come back, or what they add to their team
Yeah,
that you're also
Porzingis.
interested
Porzingis when he comes back. Yeah, definitely. Because then Dallas is going to be firing on all cylinders. So we need Porzingis back, like in the
in?
worst way over there.
I'd just like to see him string together, you know, a few seasons where he stays healthy because on paper, kid's got tons of talent.
Right, right. It's just those injuries, man. Just those injuries. Really quick, Steph Curry, as of 2 days ago, was 55 threes away from breaking the all-time record that's held by Reggie Miller. How you feel about Steph Curry as being considered as the greatest three-point shooter in NBA history?
Um, I don't think it's necessarily a like an age thing or a generational gap thing. I think he is.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, he's gonna. No, I'd be surprised if anyone catches this record because he's shattering it.
He is shattering it. Yeah,
And
he
he's gonna be
is.
he's gonna be around for quite a bit longer.
Yeah,
Uh, I think he is. Not only is he probably the most efficient 3-point shooter, is he might go down as like one of the most clutch too, because it's not like he just makes these buckets when they're not important. I mean, those early Golden State championships before they had Durant, like they only had him for one, right? For one of
two,
the championships,
two,
two, two.
two.
Okay, he just looked unstoppable in some games, and it didn't matter if he pulled up from half court. Like you knew it was going in.
Right, right.
I think in what I've seen, he's the most impressive, and he'll in my eyes he'll go down as the best 3-point shooter of all time. And
He
it shouldn't
will.
even it's not even gonna be close. Reggie Miller's right there. You got Ray Allen right behind. You got some other guys who are known for being great 3-point shooters, and Reggie Miller is probably the top of the list. But
Oh my goodness, I made
it's
a mistake. Oh my God, I can't remember now. I think Ray Allen does have it. Shit, who has it? Him or Reggie? Ray Allen may have it now. Forgive me, fans. I'm getting old. I forgot. Whoever has it, Steph is going to shatter the record because it took Reggie Miller and Ray Allen at the end of their careers to break that record. Stephen Curry isn't not he hasn't hit that last chapter of his career yet. And then let's not forget there were a couple of seasons. Well, he missed most of last year, and then he had a couple of seasons earlier where he would miss half seasons because of the ankle injuries. So he still missed a lot of time, and he's going to shatter that record. That's incredible. That is incredible. Yeah, but Ray Allen does have it, I believe. Forgive me.
Okay.
I'm getting old. But Reggie Miller's number two. But I'm getting old. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely going to shatter that thing. Last thing before we leave. How's your fantasy team looking this week?
This week I'm not as impressed as last week. I've had some rougher days this week. Like some guys just not carrying their load quite as much as
Hmm.
last week. Um, but it's early. I don't get too stressed about fantasy too early on because everybody's still finding their spots on their teams. Things like that. It's finding their rhythm. I've had rough starts before, which this week is just I think a little bit worse than last week. But last week I came away with a tie, which was odd. But I'm not too worried about it yet. But I don't think I'm having a great week.
At what point do you give me kudos on being the greatest fantasy player that you've ever seen in your life? At what point does that happen?
When I think it, and I haven't seen that yet.
Wow. Okay.
We play in a league that is
Wow.
categorically and competition wise
Wow.
easier than what I was used to. So if you could duplicate this success in my old league, then maybe I'd say it to you.
Three, three out of the last 4 years, and he still won't give me credit. Got it.
No,
So not even,
because only
so
a few
not even
people
if I
play.
win. I'm sorry. What's that?
Only a few people consistently play in our league all year. If you had to play against 10 people consistently, or eight
Yeah.
people, even eight all year,
That's not.
you
Look,
won't have this success.
I
I will
can't
not
speak.
give you that until we have a competitive
I
league.
still, I still have to draft my team. I
That's
still have
fine.
to make. I still have to make certain moves throughout the season.
Hmm.
I can't control what the competition does. I just
Hmm.
want my look. I'm like LeBron James at this point. Give me my damn credit.
And since you asked, you will not get it just like he won't, because you're the first one to pick out all the reasons why he shouldn't get everything like he deserved. So I have to keep you in check because you're not the greatest I've seen. I've seen better.
I am
I've
right
played against
now.
better.
Hold on. I newbie stole a category from me last night. So right now I'm up 9-0, and we have two categories that are tied. So that's what I am right now. Hold
You,
on.
you you could win the next two championships, and if the league stays the way that we have it, I still win. I will not admit it because
Look,
I've seen.
I tell
I'm not.
people, I tell people come and play every week. Set your lineups up every week. I give out a cash prize to the winner, which has been me all the time. I can't control what other people do. But on that note,
It's a
since Bryce
casual
won't
league.
since Bryce won't give me my credit, that's
Got
gonna
my
be
championship.
it.
I'm done.
Ah, yeah, you got your one because I was injured.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Hey, injury is as good as any reason I've seen a team fall apart. So
yeah.
hey, if your
Well,
team gets injured, you gotta chalk it up to the basketball
dude,
gods.
that year I had Steph and Clay, and they were both out at the end of the season. I'm like, God damn it.
Hey, my team's championship came against LeBron James and Kevin Durant, and my best player Rondo got hurt that year. So anything can happen.
Look, I don't know who I play next week, but we'll see. But that's it for this week's episode of the Hardwood Nation's Flagrant 2 podcast. You guys be safe, and we'll see you next week. Peace.